A Republican-led effort to purge roughly 225,000 North Carolina voters from the state's rolls would be largely abandoned under a settlement agreement that national Democrats and Republicans filed in federal court on Monday. The deal between the Democratic National Committee and Republican National Committee must still be approved by a judge for that to become final.
All right, so we're going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, to talk about this. We know we have the midterms coming up, so a lot voting on a lot of people's minds. What's exactly laid out in this settlement?
Well, it's that we're not going to attempt to remove, as Jason said, almost a quarter of a million voters from the rolls. I mean, this was something that was required when people registered to vote. And if you remember, this is connected to our North Carolina State Supreme Court race that took, drug on for a number of months. While attempting to figure out who was the ultimate winner in that race. This was when you registered to vote, because of federal law required the capturing of these identifying information, either the last four of your social security number or some driver's license information. But North Carolina voting registration forms didn't have that documentation or requirement in there. And so when this was brought to the attention of the North Carolina officials, they made the remedy to try to fix it, but you already had a number of people that had been registered without it. And so in defense, the state stated that these folks aren't random people that are voting that aren't real individuals. If a person showed up to actually vote and they didn't have these identifying information like the social or their license number, they would have been assigned some special voter identification number, still not in compliance with what the federal government was requiring, but at least allowing them to be identified. It continued to go through litigation because the Republicans were trying to remove them as if those folks weren't real. Democrats were trying to keep them on the rolls to say, look, we've already shored up the issue because at the root core of it, it's not about removing these people. It's just ensuring that we have an accurate number of people that are there and they have been identified in some capacity.
Do the courts ever get skeptical when there's these large-scale purging of voters, especially close to an election time?
Yeah, I mean, but this isn't one that started close. I mean, it's just kind of ending close, and there's a settlement that's close. But yeah, this is something that it's never a good time to attempt to purge because if you start today, guess what? There'll be an election in November, and so there'll be time for folks to say it's never enough time, and that will always be your defense. If someone is attempting to purge, you'll say it's too close to an election, so courts are going to have to take action at some point. I mean, today is today, but I think the last sentence you said in your reading was both sides have come to an agreement, but the judge still has to accept it. I mean, last week I had an agreement with myself and the DA's office that the judge didn't accept. You always walk in there recognizing that it took us forever to get to this point, but we've been the only folks in this room. Until the judge gets an opportunity to read it, this deal isn't done.
Under what grounds do you think a judge might not approve this?
It really just depends on what's inside of the agreement. I mean, if there's not enough time for them to be in compliance with the federal law, I think that's probably going to be key because then we'll be right back here. I mean, remember, Democrats are saying we just need time to ensure that we can comply. And we need time to give these people that have been registered, about 70,000+ now left, we want to give them more time to respond. Give us identification. Come in and prove that you're a voter. And remember, the original argument is they wanted these folks removed from the last election in real time, people that had already been registered. Some folks that had already voted. And so that's, I think, going to be the problem is, have you given them enough time so that this issue isn't something that we're attempting to relitigate at the next election? And so I think that could be the point of contention for a judge if they're looking at this agreement. Additionally, like, how did you come up with this number? It started with 220,000. We're down to 75,000. Show me how you got there. Show me who you decided to keep. Show me who you decided to get rid of. And show me how you are now in compliance.
Whether the judge goes for this or goes against it, what does this specific case do to election integrity?
I think for sure this shows that, I mean, I say it a lot, we're a litigious society, and if you don't like the way something has happened, folks will file a lawsuit. I think this shows that our system works, that we believe on one side of Republicans that there was an issue with voter registration. And North Carolina admitted that they were out of compliance, but they didn't want to move as fast as the Republicans wanted them to move to take people off. And so the only way you can get to some resolution is go to court. And so I think this is exactly how our three co-equal branches are supposed to work, and it's playing out like it's supposed to.
All right, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes, thanks so much.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.